Hello everyone, and welcome to Age of New. Continuing our coverage of the upcoming new civilizations, we're going to be looking at all Ottoman landmarks in this video for Age of Empires 4. Since balance is likely going to be tweaked for both civilizations before launch, I won't get too deep into which of the two options is the most powerful to pick from, but focus more on what they're intended to enable the Ottoman player, even if they got buffed or nerfed by launch. Okay, let's take a closer look now, starting with the Feudal Age. The first landmark the Ottomans can build in the feudal age is the Twin Minaret Medrese, which is currently still standing at Erzurum in modern-day Turkey. In-game, this landmark acts as a mill and generates 4 berry bushes which can be harvested 50% faster. Each fully harvested berry bush takes 120 seconds to regrow, and I'll analyze how many villagers is optimal to have with this landmark in a future video. For now, know that this landmark is a safe and fast food resource generator, and remember that you can also farm around it as well. Overall, a solid option for a food eco boost in the early game. The second landmark the Ottomans can build in the feudal age is the Sultanhani trade network. This landmark acts as a market and comes with 2 traders already trained and garrisoned within. It also generates 28 gold per minute for each trader garrisoned. The max garrison limit is 6 traders for a gold generation of 168 gold per minute. This means that 6 traders can grant you slightly above 2 relics worth of gold per minute, since relics are going to be nerfed in the upcoming patch. To wrap up the feudal age, the Ottomans' feudal options are both economic, as they'll have to rely on other options to defend themselves in the early game. Since traders are getting significantly buffed in the upcoming patch, I wouldn't count out Sultanhani trade network before some rigorous playtesting. Moving on to the Castle Age, the Ottomans now get 2 military landmarks to choose from. The first is the Istanbul Imperial Palace. It doubles the Imperial Council experience around the landmark and increases the Vizier's point limit by +2. The Imperial Council and Vizier point system requires a whole video of its own, but as a summary for the purpose of this video, is a selection of 3 free upgrades per age for a total of 9 free upgrades to choose from. You're only allowed to pick 5 out of the 9 throughout the whole game, but the Istanbul Imperial Palace extends that limit to 7 and helps you get the points faster. I'll quickly showcase the upgrades you can choose for now, so feel free to pause and read them. As mentioned, I'll cover these in a later video. The second option for the Ottomans in the Castle Age is the Mehmed Imperial Armory, which basically produces free siege units of your choice at a much longer training time. As for the options, you can choose any of the available Ottoman siege, which means the Springald, Mangonel, and Trebuchet in the Castle Age, and the Rebaldequin and the Great Bombard in the Imperial Age. Okay, but how slow are we talking about here? Well, let's make a quick comparison. Here's a table of all siege units and their typical production times. It takes 30 seconds for the Springald, 40 for the Mangonel, 40 for the Trebuchet, 45 for the Rebaldequin, and 60 for the Great Bombard. The Mehmed Imperial Armory, on the other hand, trains the Springald in 2.5 minutes, Mangonel in 3, Trebuchet in 3:45, Rebaldequin in 4, and the Great Bombard in a whopping 6 minutes. It's not that bad though, as there are potentially additional influences for the Ottomans here. As a part of their civilization bonus, any production building under the influence of a blacksmith or university gets a 25%, 33%, and 40% production speed bonus with each respective age up. Hence, if you have either a blacksmith or university around, the numbers improve to 145 for Springalds, 208 for Mangonels, 240 for Trebuchets, 250 for Rebaldequins, and 415 for the Great Bombard. But wait, there's more. One of the Ottoman landmark options for the Imperial Age, the Istanbul Observatory landmark, increases the influence bonus to 60% instead. Hence, if you choose to build that landmark in the Imperial Age, the best case scenario for our production times in the Mehmed Imperial Armory decreases to 132 for the Springald, 152 for the Mangonel, 218 for the Trebuchet, 229 for the Rebaldequin, and 343 for the Great Bombard. A free bombard every 343 minutes is basically equivalent to 400 resources per minute, which is not shabby at all. And finally, the Imperial Age. The first landmark option for the Ottomans is, well, the Istanbul Observatory. We already covered what this landmark does, but just as a reminder, it affects the production influence for all production buildings. This means that you can train a Springald in just 18 seconds, a Sipahi in 15 seconds, a Great Bombard in 37 seconds, and so on. If you have the economy, you will likely overrun your opponent with military units at that stage of the game. The final landmark for the Ottomans is the Sea Gate Castle, and it acts as a keep. More importantly, it gives an aura to all Ottoman keeps to boost their trade units, both on land and sea, by a whopping 40% and provide an additional 10 armor. Once again, if we compare this with the recent buffs to trading overall in the upcoming patch, we really need to test the viability of this landmark before we can count it out. It's obviously difficult to cover the map with many keeps to give this aura to your traders constantly, but perhaps 1 or 2 keeps can make the Ottoman trade very potent towards the mid to late game. We'll have to wait and see how the playtesting will go. And finally, although not a landmark, I also wanted to quickly showcase the Ottoman wonder as well, which is the famous Azure Mosque. Let's take a quick look from different angles and lighting before we wrap this video up. Well, that was a short and sweet summary of your landmark options for the Ottomans that are coming later in October. I will be covering the Malian landmarks as well, so be sure to like and subscribe to not miss out on the plethora of upcoming videos. There's so much more to explore with many balance changes too, and I'll be covering all of those as well. As always, thanks for watching everyone, be sure to wreak havoc to your enemies with the Great Bombard, and see you all in the next one.